Coldplay is one of my personally favorite bands in the modern era because their blend of pop and rock is semi-consistent except when it's not. Their newest record, Music of the Spheres, is meant to be the first in a series of albums that included the subsequent album Moon Music. But we're going to talk about Music of the Spheres here. While I did mostly enjoy this record, I do have my central issues with it, and it's because of the story it tries to tell. Yup, this is Coldplay's first concept record since Milo's Illato, and it's supposed to tell the story of a fictional planetary system comprising of 9 planets, 3 satellites, a star, and its nebula. For being a record that promises a very ambitious and risky concept, its overtly poppy aesthetic certainly does not deliver on that front. Coloratura is by far the best song on the record, giving its uniqueness from the rest of Coldplay's catalog and how well it embodies the concept the record is supposed to tell. However, the rest of the record, even though it does have its moments, don't live up to the great closer. However, we should start with the positives as well. Some of the songs are memorable, like the synths in Higher Power or the hook of My Universe featuring BTS. Chris Martin's voice is just as great and expressive as it always was. The production is often good, with some exceptions, and the presence of interludes and segs between songs immerses you more in the concept besides Coloratura. Besides the aforementioned BTS feature, this record has some more guests in the form of Selena Gomez on Let Somebody Go, and We Are King and Jacob Collier in Human Heart. And finally, the concept that the record promises is pretty investing and promising. It really draws you in. Now on to the problems I have with this record. For starters, some of the instrumentation and production on this record are generic and even annoying. The song Beautiful, which is easily the worst track on the record, has these awful Elmo-ass vocal inflections that ruin the song and do not mesh with Chris Martin's normal voice. Also, besides that, the fact that this album is so pop-oriented means the songs kind of get repetitive as the tracklist progresses. And Human Heart and People of the Pride are for me the best examples of this fatigue, since I barely remember those songs. Those are the most forgettable tracks on the record for me. However, this record's biggest sin is how thoroughly it wastes its very promising premise with such little genre variety. A story about a set of planets and spatial objects sounds great for an ambient, complex, and exploratory record, but the closest thing this record comes to this is Coloratura. The rest of the record isn't really trying to immerse you in the concept, it's more so trying to sound like a top 40 hit. I normally wouldn't mind that, but the plot the record is supposed to present implies so much more. This record, in a phrase, is good, but lesser than the sum of its parts. This album overall was a relative disappointment given what it was promising, but it still has its fair share of positive moments, as I mentioned. The mixing and production is generally presentable, and the vocals are pleasing to listen to. I mean, come on, it's Chris Martin. The album would be pretty mid if it wasn't for Coloratura, which is very much a great, beautifully arranged Pink Floyd-esque piece. I cannot tell you how much that track carries this record. Coldplay could have outdone themselves a lot more with the concept they promised on the record, but it is a generally tolerable yet inconsistent record that evens out its highs and lows. Even with all its flaws, I still think it's a slightly above average 6 out of 10 for me.